In this video, we're going to talk about what makes working as a software engineer in Germany so special. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more smoothly. Honeypot, which is a job platform focused on jobs for developers, released a study in 2021 called Developers Happiness Index. I think the name is so cute. We will use the information in this study in some of the parts of this video. You can find the full index in the description box below.
We will divide this video into the following sections for you to follow along best. Salary, tech stack, your language skills in terms of German or English, work culture, popular cities in Germany, your educational background, and how you can best be hired from abroad.
So let's start with the salary. Your salary will be impacted by mainly 3 factors. So the first one is location, and that's in the city that you decide to live in, your years of experience, and of course your position, whether you're front-end, back-end, DevOps, manager, or anything else. As an example, let's take this table, which shows the average gross salary for front-end developers in the most popular cities for expats.
You can see that your experience level, meaning whether you are a junior with less than 3 years of experience or a real senior developer with more than 9 years of experience, impacts your salary tremendously. Also, as mentioned, the location. However, be aware that the cities where you earn more, hence Munich, Frankfurt and Stuttgart, are also the cities with the highest cost of living, so there's a direct correlation.
If you're not currently in Germany or you're not European in general, these numbers might not mean much to you because it's hard to grasp how much can you purchase with these euros. First of all, you need to know 2 concepts. The first one is that this is a gross annual salary. And the second one is that out of this gross annual salary, there will be deductions taken from your salary for social contribution, taxes, and other stuff, which will give you a net salary. And that is the money that you will receive in your bank account directly and you can spend. To understand better all this, we have another video which you can check out here, which is answering the question, what is considered a good salary in Germany? So which is the best city to work as a software engineer in Germany? Oof, that highly depends on a lot of factors. Some of them being the lifestyle that you like, other the industry where you want to work in. To give you a little bit of context, for example, the more mature tech companies like Google and Amazon, including also all the automotive companies like BMW, Mercedes, and other German companies, they tend to be in the south part of Germany. So that is the area of Munich and Stuttgart.
Frankfurt is the banking capital of Germany and even Europe. So if you're interested in being in the banking industry, that is a great place to look. And Berlin is, of course, the heart of the startup scene of Germany, and especially if you're looking for a bit of a more alternative lifestyle, it's definitely a cool place to be. However, if it comes to startups, Munich and Düsseldorf also are quite catching up, so there are, of course, other cities as well.
We have another video talking about the best cities to live in Germany, when you can also check out here, where we go a little bit more into detail into the most popular options for expats in Germany. Now, which tech stack should you focus on or should you have to increase your chances of getting a job in Germany? Oh, wow. The answer still also depends, because it depends on the company you're working for and their culture and also what they provide as a service. According to the study done by Honeypot, actually the candidates that tend to get more interviews are the ones that have some JavaScript skills. This could be any framework like React or even backend like Node or anything like vanilla JavaScript. Also, additional to that, the language that follows with less popularity but still quite strong is Java. In more traditional companies, like for example Google and Amazon, they might be looking for candidates that are more into the C# and C+ kind of languages because of the kind of software that they develop. Also, this is true for any manufacturing company, for cars, for example, for the dashboards on Mercedes. I know they also use Java, and in some cases they were also looking for candidates with C#, I think is what they were saying. Now for the educational background. So I know a lot of you are like me, which you actually learned a software development on your own, either by following a bootcamp or really just self-taught. And the big question is, will companies hire me if I don't have a CES or a computer science degree? And the answer is yes. However, it is not necessarily easy. I would say generally a problem of this world, not only Germany, is that anyone who is a junior developer tends to have a little bit more of hurdles to get that first job, to get into the market, to gain that experience. Once you've cracked, let's say, 1.5 or 2 years of being in the market, then it tends to be easier for you to get jobs. So even though you are applying for junior positions, companies don't necessarily rely on you having a computer science degree. I don't have a computer science degree, and I was able to find jobs in Germany without that degree, without any issue. And I'm also self-taught. I also came out of a boot camp, so that worked out for me. And I know other colleagues that I worked with, I would say out of the majority was actually self-taught, just like me. So even in my professional career, all my colleagues were not necessarily computer scientists.
The moment, however, a degree comes into play and is very helpful, it doesn't have to be computer science per se, but it should be highly related to the topic, is when you are still abroad and you are applying for a visa. Because the EU Blue Card, which is kind of like a fast-track visa work permit that also allows you to get a permanent residence permit faster in Germany. For that, you need to have a related degree in the job that you are applying for or getting. However, if you don't have that degree, that doesn't mean that you cannot move. You can. It's just that you won't be applying for a blue card, but just for a regular work permit.
Which also works. For example, I never had a blue card. Now let's answer the question of German language skills. Do I need to speak German to be able to move to Germany as a software engineer? And the answer is no.
Not really. Yeah. The company called Education First, or short EF, which happens to be my former employer, does a yearly study for the English Proficiency Index worldwide. And that study shows that Germany ranks number 8 with quite high English proficiency.
Wow, that's pretty high. Based on my personal experience, if you don't speak German, you still have very high chances of finding an English-speaking job in Germany. That is because the demand of developers is so high that companies are actually willing to drop that requirement just to be able to find developers to do the job. As an example, I worked in a telecommunications company where the whole language, everything was in German, but there was this little bubble of the developers for the online shop that was all in English. The manager spoke to us in English, the meetings were in English, communication was in English. It was a bit tough because we were in this bubble and we wanted to participate in the rest of the company. Everything was in very high German, I would say, like very bureaucratic and proper German. So that transition was a bit tough, but we were in this English-speaking bubble within this German company, so it's definitely possible.
And your colleagues were mainly also foreigners?
Yes, and a lot of Germans as well.
Yeah. To add on that, we recently had a talk with tech recruiters, and they confirmed that especially in, let's say, the past 2-3 years, the requirement of having at least a little bit of German really is the first one to drop because the need is so high. That does not mean that we shouldn't or we don't encourage you to learn German. It's actually super important for you to adapt to the life here, to understand the culture and also feel welcomed in a way. But it's not the requirement for you to have proficiency in German to actually make that move and get that job.
Yes, I would say learn from my mistake. I took a very long time to actually get into the I want to learn German mode. And once I did it, I must say that the doors kind of opened for me a little bit in terms of colleague relationships. I didn't speak perfect German, but I made an effort. And for some reason, Germans love that and respond to that. And then suddenly I was the one being invited to parties and coffee breaks, and even I have some very good colleagues / friends that I made during my period in this telecommunications company, where I think the effort of speaking German and like the wanting to be part of them and integrating played a big role into the relationship that we have now.
Now, when it comes to work culture, it really depends on the company that is hiring you. If it's a more mature and let's say more professional company, the likelihood of having perks like extra pay for holiday or Christmas are higher. If it's a younger company, a more startup-y, maybe the likelihood of having perks like remote working or fresh fruits in the office or cool company events or other things in that scenario are maybe higher in there.
We have a whole video also there that you can check out about work culture in Germany, which is kind of like a more general sense of it. And I have had companies where it's been a serious bureaucratic company and other ones that are kind of like startup-y, and it really highly depends. There is no like cookie cutter template for how companies operate in Germany when you're a developer. I remember when I was first starting as a developer, I watched some YouTube videos trying to figure out how is the work culture working as a software engineer. And I got kind of scared because it seemed very stressful, like very strict. I saw videos where people were working from Monday to Friday until 2 a.m. or even more, fixing bugs and stuff. So I'm not saying that working in Germany is like a walk in the park. There are some days that are tougher than others, of course. However, in my professional career, I have never pulled an all-nighter or have to stay really late in the evening until like 2 a.m. fixing stuff. And I would kind of like contribute that to this work-life balance that happens in Germany, which we mentioned also in that video of work culture. And I have experienced that also in offices. Just to give you another example, once as a junior developer, I accidentally deleted a live table from a website, which obviously brought the whole website down. And my boss at the time, he was a bit disappointed. He told me, Jen, that was not okay what you did. You should probably fix your procedures. However, don't worry about it. I will pay for the backup, luckily. And we restored it and I wasn't fired. And that for me was like, what? Okay. And this kind of was a theme throughout my coding career in Germany. That when mistakes are done, you talk about it and you get a second chance. And it's not super strict like, now you're fired and you get out of here, which I appreciate very much. Not meaning that I broke things on purpose. Sometimes it just happens.
Now to the big question of how can you get hired from abroad as a software engineer to work and live in Germany. To find matching positions like in the industry, you can of course look at Honeypot that we've mentioned already a few times, but there are also other websites and job portals that are quite helpful. For example, Arbeit Now is a website that tackles not just software development, but all jobs in Germany in English.
Another place you can look is Darwin Recruitment. They actually only focus on IT jobs. And another one is 50 in Tech, which is also like a cool initiative where their slogan is to have 50% of the workforce in tech to be female. So they also have a job board with English jobs also for software developers.
If you are a software engineer or data scientist with more than 3 years experience and you would like a personalized coaching actually with the promise of getting a job within 3 months, then Jörg and his team from Find a Job in Germany might be a great option for you.
This is a premium paid service, so be aware of that. You can find the information of this service down in the description box below. If you still would like to receive some sort of coaching, again, bear in mind this is a paid service, and you have less than 3 years of experience, meaning you don't qualify for Find a Job in Germany of Jörg and his team, then you can check out CareerBee. This is a community/coaching service where you can get feedback on your CV and tips on how to prepare best for your interview. To prepare your CV, you should definitely adapt it to German standards. We have a whole video explaining how to prepare your CV to German standards, and that is the next video that you can watch by clicking here. Until next time, cheers!